third evolving challenge in the military domain is to prepare for the entire spectrum of conflict ranging from subconventional, conventional to nuclear. And this is for across the entire domain, entire front and all domains. And the modern conflict has shown that threat can emanate for any level and escalate quickly and rapidly, necessitating diligent preparation and capability to build up. In the spectrum of conflict, nuclear conflict lies at the extreme end of the threat spectrum. My understanding is that nuclear weapons are tools of deterrence and not war fighting. Of late, India has also said that it will not be deterred by nuclear blackmail. So I thought that I'll clarify a bit on this and give you my take on this. I think Operation Sindoor is the only example of a conflict between two nuclear weapon states. There have been hundreds of conflicts ever since nuclear weapons have been invented, but only one of the belligerents could have been a nuclear weapon state, the other was normally none. So, security situation today is, we all know, is in a state of flux. The world is transiting between two orders. Amid this chaos, the US stance adds to additional layer of complexity, which we all are aware. So the other important part as far as national security is concerned is about economic and trade security. A resilient and dynamic economy is the bedrock of national strength, ensuring stable growth and sustainable development. Social and internal security is another dimension of the national security. And for a country which is, say, multilingual, ethnic, multi-religious, I think this internal security, I think, is very, very important and should be an intrinsic part of any social security aspect. Again, economic distress in countries in the IOR has given outside powers to leverage their influence through debt diplomacy, creating vulnerabilities for India. Similarly, frequent shifts in government in South Asia with changing geopolitical equation and ideological views, another major challenge that we face. Similarly, there is a possible convergence of interest we can talk about between China, Pakistan and Bangladesh, may have security implications for regional stability and security dynamics.
Conceptual to the operational that has emerged, very operational, operationally vital for us. How should we assess those, that linkage, and how prepared are we to take on the new dimension, which was always there, but this time we saw its operational results in real time, very quick, 4 days, a few hours, and with some very significant results for us and for the region.
Maybe it's a very difficult question to answer, firstly, because a lot has been said on both sides. But I'll base my answer on facts, actually, and some reasonable assumptions. So the first fact which I want to tell the audience over here is that there was no unusual activity on the northern borders during the duration of this conflict, which is different. In past conflicts, there had been trouble on the borders. Maybe this is a short conflict. That's an assumption I can make. But that's a fact that there was no activity on the northern border. The second fact is that we all know that in the past 5 years, Pakistan has acquired almost 70 to 80% of its weapons and equipment from China. So that's a fact. And a reasonable assumption would be that Chinese as OEMs will have commercial liabilities which they have to fulfill, and will have people in Pakistan. So, and we all know today in defense companies, there are always ex-servicemen who work there, there are civilians who work there. So there would be people who would be meeting their commercial obligation. That equipment has to service, it has to function. It happens for India also, it happens for all countries. If we get equipment from Israel, we have to have people over there. Third thing we can talk about is information. So today we seek information from open sources, we look at satellite images. So we may look at, we've seen all those images of Maxar, Planet Lab. There are a number of Chinese companies also doing this on a commercial basis. So you could go to them, or you could go to US for purchase of this commercial imageries. So that's possible. How much of state support will be there, it's very difficult to define and that particular process. When this information turns into intelligence is also very difficult to define. Means unless you are factually correct or you have evidence of it, so that assessment making is wrong, because all this is, one to the other, it's slightly linked with each other. I'll leave it